Alright, we just came up on a food plot here. It's got some, looks like some rye or something, and some clover in it. And for the record, the South Georgia DNR, they need a raise. These guys do an excellent job keeping up the roads and planting stuff. Look, just look at here, what's something pretty here. It's just beautiful. Surprised we didn't see a arrowhead or some pottery right here. Let's ease on. Pig sign there. Look at all this pig sign. This is fresh. That's what we're looking for right there. There's no rain in that. Man, this is rooted up. We may be in business. See what kind of wind we got. We're gonna go hunt for these fellas. This is since the rain. Let's go find us one. Alrighty, I'm fixing to show you a funnel in the swamp. People say, what's a funnel look like in the swamp? This one don't. It's kind of obvious, but I'll show you. You got a run of water here. It gets narrow right here. Then it widens back out. Alright, then you have like a little bit of higher ground right there. And it drops in, it's got a little dip here. Same thing here. You got higher ground here. And it drops into a low dip right here. And it's real wide back there and it funnels up. And they had some animals come through here this morning. Look at the water. I mean, there's water everywhere, but you can see it. The leaves disturbed going down this bottom right here. So there's some critters crossed right here this morning. That's what a funnel looks like in the swamp, or one of them. You might can see it better from this side. See the higher ground here, where the log's at? And it comes into a dip, then it goes back up. They crossed right there. They came down right here. That food plot where all the sign is way back there, about 300 yards. They crossed right here. Brand new since the rain, see it? How about that? So that means we could be on the right track. I see where they went through you can see the water in the leaves messed up going that way. Alright, we're still on them same pigs. They crossed this funnel right here. They went down the bank. You can see the leaves messed up through here. They went down the bank and went across and went up right over there. Right there. So what do? It ain't cold, so it don't matter if we get our feet a little damp. And I got a pair of dry socks. That's a lesson learned. Always carry dry socks with you. Because you can walk with wet feet there till about lunchtime and then pull your shoes off, eat you a snack, put dry socks on, you feel like a new man. So let's cross this and go on in there and see if we can find them. I didn't go but about 50 yards farther than where I showed you that last sign. The good Lord put us a recliner right here. We're sitting on it. And I had to get my undershirt off. It was too hot. It's warming up and change hats. That other hat's too hot for walking like this. But the reason I'm gonna sit here a while, maybe eat a sandwich, is because there's an island to my left. And I'm on a peninsula. It's like 150 yards wide. And it goes a long ways and then ends. But the last probably 2 acres of it is real thick. And I think that's where them hogs went at, because the sides of the peninsula are rooted on and I don't see any on that side. And that's a really safe place for them to be because, you know, I happen to know where that crossing was at, where we crossed, and it wasn't over our boots. But everywhere else on that run over there is over your boots. And the same way all the way around. I know two crossings on around to get around on the top side. So my point to that is this is they in a castle surrounded by a moat. But they done messed around and let us get inside the moat. But you have to. There's a couple of trains of thought right here. Number one, if today's the only day I can hunt forever, I mean, you know, until for a while, then I'm going to go down there into that thicket and try to get one of them. And I'm probably going to bust them all out. Hogs are different than deer. You mess with a deer very much, and he just gets nocturnal. He'll stay there, but he gets nocturnal. But a pig will just pick up and move. And so I plan on coming back 2 days next week, and so I got to wrestle with what do I want to do here. Do I want to ease in there and probably spook them out of that, like I said, out of the thicket, and might get to shoot one. But I've learned a lot this morning. I know where they came from, I know where they came through the swamp, and I know where they're headed. And they'll keep that same pattern. They may not do it every day, they'll make it like a loop, but every other day it'll happen that way. And so I could come back, get here earlier, and instead of walking all through the swamp and following them, I'll just come to this point and wait on them. But if I go in there after them now, I may ruin all that. So you kind of have to wrestle with what you want to do with it. And I think squirrels barking back here, probably a deer coming through. So I think I'm gonna follow that edge. I got a good wind. I'm gonna follow that edge to the thicket and ease down it, but I'm not gonna probe it. And if I don't see one, I'm not going. If this was the last day of pig season, I'd take an hour or more and sneak my way and zigzag a whole thicket right there. But I'm not gonna do that today. We'll go down that side, and if we don't see them, we're not gonna go in there. And I'm not gonna go on the bad wind side, so my wind comes through there. Like I'm not gonna go that way. You know, forget about them. But if I go that way, my wind's gonna go through there. So I just well went through the thicket because I'm gonna bust them out. So that's my thought. That's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna hunt them like this. We'll go down that edge, and I'll circle way down and then cut across because I want to check another island over there. Hear the hawk right there? This is beautiful in here. This is beautiful. People ask me sometimes, where you want to go hunting at? I'm here. I mean, I'd love to shoot an elk and a pronghorn and all this other stuff, but good gracious alive. How does this get any better? Thank you, Lord, for letting me be here. All right, I was just telling you my training logic. We've been on them pigs for half a mile and not seen them, but it's the same group, and it looks to be. I see some smaller tracks and some bears. It looks like some sows with shoats, and there's probably a big old rank bull with them too. But this is how you do this. It's fun. You don't just blindly stagger around in the woods, and you kill stuff like that sometimes, just being lucky. But like I have a plan for these hogs right here. All right, let's eat a sandwich. All right, I came around the side of the thicket. That's where you're at. Getting on them. We're not going to run them out. We're going to ease on and go find some more. We've come about 1.25 miles, and I'm sitting on an old pine log right here, going to rest my legs. I expect some of the better pig hunting usually is about, I don't know, 200 or 300 yards in front of me. I'm trying to get simmered down a little bit, get rested before I go in there and start zigzagging my way around. But what I wanted to show you is share something with you, is the knife I brought with me on this trip. Actually 2 of them. And it's old case knives, a little double set here. I've had these knives for some time now. I've never carried them hunting. And there's a story behind these knives. I bought these knives. I have a knife drawer, and what made me pick these up, I was looking for something, and I opened my knife drawer at the house there of stuff I've accumulated. And I got a drawer full of knives, and some I bought, some were gifts. But when I was a kid, about, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old there, I lived at my grandma's house. My daddy had got killed in a car wreck. And me and my mom lived at my grandma's house, granddaddy's house. One of my uncles lived there, and he had been in the Navy. He'd been all over the world. And for a 10-year-old kid, that's fascinating. And he had all kind of little doodads that he picked up here and there, souvenirs on his dresser there, just all kind of stuff that was, you know, you can imagine a 10-year-old boy, adventuresome. That was cool stuff. But he had a set of these. Like I said, I bought these. This is not the ones he had. But when I was growing up, I loved to hunt and fish. That's what I did. And this particular uncle, his name was R.L., Robert Lanier. He's the guy I was named after. But he actually knew how to shoot a bow. He didn't bow hunt, but he knew the proper way to shoot a bow. He's the one that showed me how to shoot a bow correctly. So, but he had a set of knives like this. And I was running around there. You know, I live out in the country, and 10 or 12 years old, we was toting a shotgun around squirrel hunting all day long by ourselves. And he would let me use these knives of his. And when I was real young, around the house with the bows and arrows and BB guns, he took the big knife out, and I could only carry the small one. And I couldn't have it out of the pack unless I was skinning something. And I always looked forward to the day that I could carry the big knife too. And you know, as a kid, you can imagine that's a pretty big deal back then, you know. So that's the story of the knives I'm toting today. 2K's knives, they are razor sharp. And like I said, this is the first time I've had them in the woods. And this is not the ones, again, this is not the ones that he had. But I bought these in remembrance of that, if that makes any sense. And I'm going to use these pretty regular, because they are handy, two pretty good knives. So, kind of cool story on the knives I was carrying today. I thought you might be interested in that. We got hogs in front of us here somewhere. There's a hog standing right over here. I missed that hog, doggone it. My bottom bow limb, I felt a vibration. I think my bottom bow limb hit the ground. I'm not making excuses, I missed. And the pig wasn't up like 14 yards. And shot low left, terrible low left. And that's what hitting your bow limb will do. My arrow come out of there real crazy. So something happened that wasn't normal. But at least he's unscathed. I normally don't shoot big old boars, but that was a fine hog. And he challenged me. I don't know if you could see it. He was out there digging his feet in the ground, sort of. That's the same thing as a bull scraping his feet, putting a run at you. It was pretty to watch. Hey, I'm gonna close right here. We're in a historical little bottom right here. This is called the Tree Shark Bottom. This is where Chris killed a doe, and the tree shark went in a cypress, and it stayed there for, I think, 10 years or more. He came back this past year, dug it out of the tree, and killed a deer with it. So this little flat here, this little bottom is known as the Tree Shark Bottom. We both I killed 100 yards from where I'm standing, I killed a deer and two pigs one morning at the same time. Killed deer all over this place, and I killed a hog right here in this bottom, and he has too. He's killed a bunch of stuff in here. Tree Shark Bottom, how about that? Told that story and forgot what I was doing. Thank the good Lord for a fine day. Thank Donnie Wilkerson for this quiver I got on my self bow. And Ethan Persons for the arrows. And I bought the stave. Thank you, good Lord, for the job to pay for that. Thank you, Lord, for a fine day. It's beautiful in the swamp. I hadn't been and made this big loop in a long time, and thank you, Lord, for the health to do it. And I think I hear pigs. I don't know. We're gonna work our way out, and if I get on some and it ain't too dark, I'll put the camera on. See y'all next time. Thank you for watching.